Hello, this is the TradeSite US Stocks and Futures Market Preview for the week beginning Sunday, the 16th of June, 2024, ending Friday, the 21st. This is a weird week. Ahead, just so we're clear, the stock market is officially nowadays, after the last year, I guess, closed for Juneteenth, which is Wednesday. So we have Wednesday holiday, and by the way, 4th of July is on a Thursday. That's a holiday. That's going to mess up obviously the whole weekend, Friday and everything. That week's always the slowest week, besides the week between Christmas and New Year's of the year. So that's a couple of weeks off. But this week's going to be weird because it's triple expiration for options, which usually means that they do the options unraveling on Wednesday, and yet Wednesday is Juneteenth, and the markets are all closed. So that won't happen, which means it either has to happen on Thursday or Tuesday, and I have no idea what to expect from that. Guessing probably Thursday, and I don't know. When you get a holiday in the middle of the week, it can really mess with, all sorts of stuff. So we will see how that plays out. But let's just know that that's an issue and be prepared for it. We are in the summer, so summer doldrums. But we've been in doldrums for the last month and a half anyways. Here's a look at the dollar index daily chart. Basically sitting where it was a year ago, and nothing exciting happening. Dead in the middle of the range on the dollar side. The euro dollar, usually the inverse of the dollar index, but it's weaker than usual. So it's not middle of the range for the last year at all. The pound, on the other hand, like I've said before, has been just dead. I mean, this is where we were at Halloween, and we really didn't go up and down and come back and do anything. We've basically not moved. There's a little bit of technical action there with that 13 running up, hitting the risk line, the pink risk line, and then pulling back down and hitting the static trend line. But even that wasn't that big of a move. And other than taking out that little dip in April and coming back up, it's really just been dead flat. So Forex and the currency futures, basically untradeable. Here's the ES front month futures contract. So the daily chart of the broad market and futures forming a little bull flag formation here after the breakout to new highs, and we got almost a new high close on we did on Thursday, and then we're down 2 on Friday. So we're basically at the highs in terms of closes, all-time highs in the markets. S&P cash, again, same story. Near highs and is what it is. NASDAQ 100 does have a 13 seeker sell signal on the daily chart, and it's pretty extended, so we could see that come into play. We'll have to watch for if that means we finally get the rollover that everybody's been hoping for. But generally speaking, this is you're at all-time highs. You close at all-time highs for the day. It's not been great from an advanced decline perspective. Even though we were up on the NASDAQ today, we were, the advanced decline ratio in general was pretty negative. The New York advanced decline was negative 1460. That's a lot of stocks down, more stocks down than up. So it's kind of at least Friday itself. Wednesday was a positive day, but Friday, and it had one of the biggest positive advanced decline ratios. But Friday, while the NASDAQ was up and the S&P was flat, there really was way more stocks being sold off. And that's always good to watch. That's why we watch the market internals. Russell 2000 down for the week, the Russell's a key leader a lot of times. Interesting that it's heading lower here. Crude oil at 78.45. That's kind of mid-range for where it has been. Bitcoin closes at 65,882, so back down off the highs after hitting 70,000 again. Highest it's been is 74,000 or so. TLT, the 20-year bond ETF, big week up. So bonds up, rates down, as they say. And even though the Fed did nothing, there was some sign with the CPI coming in lighter than expected that maybe the inflation's getting better. And the Fed talking about probably one interest rate cut later in the year. So we'll see what happens from that perspective. But it is what it is. The VIX closes at 12.66. That's still really low, and that means no volatility in the market, which we like to see. Again, here's that advanced decline ratio. So really positive on Wednesday, but very negative on Friday. It's a mixed bag all week, basically. The trend closes at 1.17. That puts the 10-day moving average at 1.19, which is the orange line. The blue line is the 0.85 level. You got to have the orange line close under the blue line to get the sell signal on the broad market, so that didn't happen. Here's the week and 10-minute candles on the ES. So you can see the prior Friday far off to the left there. That's the Friday action. So Monday, small gap down, filled the gap, went a little higher, but closed inside of Friday's range. Tuesday, small gap down, tried to go lower, came back up, closed just about even, filled the gap. Wednesday, gapped up. That was the CPI, and then we had the Fed, and the Fed announcement did almost nothing at all. That was what was so crazy. It was the least movement I've ever seen off of a Fed announcement. Maybe. The NASDAQ, on Thursday we gapped up small on the ES, filled the gap, tried to go a little lower. So we left that gap open from Tuesday's close and ended up between the 2 days, we closed Thursday's close where Wednesday opened, and then Friday, small gap down and filled the gap late. So again, where we opened Wednesday is where we closed out the week. So it's a positive week, but nothing exciting. NASDAQ looks about the same, a little more positive there. Volume was about 5 billion shares on Friday, hung in around the 4.7 most of the week. Billion shares is what it is. In terms of some of the key stocks that we like to watch, Apple obviously took off this week. Just note that we're now looking at a potential 13 sell signal if we have 2 more up days on Apple. So that could be interesting. Amazon, not much, actually had a negative week. Meta, not much, pretty flat. Google, Apple really carried the day here, by the way. Google was flat for the week. Goldman Sachs down a little bit. Netflix broke out to new highs. Tesla, nothing there, pretty flat. Nvidia, new highs. Zoom, new lows, ugly. First Solar came back a bit after making new highs for the week too. So kind of a mixed bag. You're not seeing, again, Apple carried the day, and that's part of why the NASDAQ rallied more than anything. Obviously, the inflationary numbers were a little more positive, and the Fed comments, I think, would be perceived as being a little bit better about inflation, but still not quite where they need it to get to. In terms of news for the week ahead, here in the U.S. anyways, Empire State Manufacturing Index at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday. Tuesday, we got the rate announcement out of Australia Tuesday, by the way, and then CPI out of Europe overnight, and then core retail sales and retail sales at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time here. Industrial production capacity utilization at 9:15. Business inventories at 10. Tick long-term purchases at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, Wednesday, remember, we're closed, so there's not much there, and that's going to make for a really strange, bizarre week. I mean, what a weird place to stick Juneteenth. I guess you can't control the calendar, but it just is weird to have the second one be a Wednesday. Thursday is, here in the U.S., we've got the weekly initial and continuing jobless claims numbers, housing starts and building permits, and the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Crude oil inventories at 11, because that can't come out on Wednesday because of the holiday. And then got the Fed member speaking, I guess. That's about it. And then on Friday, flash manufacturing and services PMI numbers at 9:45 Eastern. Existing home sales and CB leading index at 10. Natty gas at 10:30. So natty gas doesn't even come out till Friday, usually Thursday number with the holiday. That's going to push that back. So that's what we're looking at. Just to map out the calendar a little bit for everybody for the rest of the next... let's just talk about the next few weeks, right? Because we're ending. So this is triple expiration Friday on the 21st. Somewhere there's options unraveling. We've already rolled the futures contracts to September. That's all handled. So now we should start to see the futures get back to more normal technical trading. We got this week with the weird holiday on Wednesday. The week after is a full week. The 28th, which is the Friday, is the last trading day of the month because there's only 30 days in June. So the 29th and 30th are Saturday and Sunday. So the statements will print on the 28th. That's the mid-year statements. A lot of times what you see is from the mid-year point, the markets will change direction. But they're going to want to print those statements first. So if they're going to hold the market up all the way until the 28th or so, they've got 1 day less to deal with because of the Juneteenth holiday. That next week would be, a full week, but probably slow on Thursday and Friday as they just try to hold everything in place to get their bonuses. And then the next week you come in and you've got the start of the second half of the year, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but then Thursday is the 4th of July holiday. We're closed. Friday is, I think, a full day. I don't think there's a half day there. But, that whole week, especially with 4th of July being on a Thursday and not like a Friday or a Monday, a lot of people are just gone for the whole week. And definitely leaving Wednesday early, not coming back Friday, obviously, and coming back the following week. So that's the calendar map ahead. We'll see how that goes. I don't expect anything massive in this window, but We shall see. Charts, as usual, brought to you by Ninja Trader. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple weeks. Have a great trading week and a good Father's Day.